Okay, I'm gonna get us started. For everyone on this call, my name's Michelle. I'm the Mountain West Regional Organizer with Sunrise, and I've been helping to get out the vote for Charles and Jamaal in this final stretch. So as everyone knows, we're coming off a historic few days and weeks, and I'm so excited to be with hundreds of you right now. I'm seeing right now we have 630 people in this call, and it's only 2 minutes in. I'm sure we're going to get more people to join. That's incredible. That's what it is to be in a movement that is ready to throw down and get to work. And I just am so inspired to see all of you on here. I want to give a huge shout out to our partners, to Working Families Party, the Collective PAC, Progressive Change Campaign Committee, and Democracy for America. Thank y'all so much for helping us put this incredible call on with Sunrise here as well. We're so excited to get started with everybody and just really appreciative to our partners who are so involved in this work as well. So for everyone who is just joining, make sure you've got your webinar set up to speaker view. That's so you can see who's talking in the right-hand corner. You can see that in the top right-hand corner, and that way you'll be able to see who's talking, and you can see our screen as we share some information and some slides with y'all. Also, you can ask questions that everyone will be able to see the answers to in our Q&A function. That's in the bottom middle of your screen. And if I can ask folks to just keep the chat focused on the presenters and reacting to what folks are saying, that's going to be great. It's going to really help us all stay really informed and connected with each other as we talk about these issues. So I'm hyped and I want to get into it. So I really want to introduce a very powerful and incredible person that I have recently had the privilege to meet. Nalini is the Director of Strategy with Working Families Party and has been a leader throughout all of these pivotal moments that we've been through. So Nalini, I want to pass it over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sunrise Movement, and all the endorsing organizations of this call. And thank you for everybody who's been tuning in. It has been, to say the least, I'm sure for everyone, a crazy, joyous, and filled with momentum couple of weeks, but also a couple of months since we entered the pandemic in the United States. And especially these few weeks have been filled with joy and amazing things on the streets. But also it comes after years of folks since 2013 with the rallying cry of Black Lives Matter. This week, it's the historic Juneteenth weekend. Juneteenth was when the last enslaved Africans in Texas found out they were finally free. And Black communities in the United States have been celebrating Juneteenth for a long time. And finally, we've got people across the country in a multiracial, mass, popular movement out in the streets crying that Black Lives Matter, saying that we must invest in Black communities, saying that it's time to defund the police for their egregious behavior in our country. And after Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and Tony McDade all were taken from us, both from police violence and not, it has been amazing to see people out on the streets. The movement for Black Lives called for a weekend of action. Juneteenth was a day to invest in Black communities, and we saw actions across the country. Yesterday was a day that we were saying defund the police. People were taking action again across the country, and we have mainstream folks saying defund the police. And today was the call for Trump must resign and that Trump must go. So major shout out to the movement for Black Lives. I just wanted to say that this is not a moment, it's a movement. And the appreciation for all of the organic uprisings, the young people who have been leading the way, thank you. Thank you for fighting for families like mine. Thank you for fighting for communities who are just sick and tired of being sick and tired in this country for not being equal as well. Also have to thank all of the folks and accomplices who have been out in these streets who are also deeply impacted by the systems that we have, to the indigenous folks who have been out shouting Black Lives Matter and also are struggling to this day, to undocumented folks who had a victory with the Supreme Court the other day, but still understand that we must have a real pathway to citizenship for all of the undocumented community in this country. And of course, obviously, the movement for Black Lives. The power of protest and uprisings is something that we stand on the shoulders of giants of. The only way that we have gotten the victories that we have gotten is through uprisings and mass popular support. It is June, it is Pride Month, and we must remember that Pride was started as a riot in New York City, where I am from, with trans women of color at the forefront of that movement. Ashe to Marsha P. Johnson and Ashe to Sylvia Rivera, who led that movement. Protesting is something that we all must do. And we call it all the tools in our toolbox because we must use everything. We have used everything in the past. We've used music, we use culture, we use legislative campaigns, and we must use the power of voting for people who stand up on the right side of history and people who stand in the interests of the communities and not anyone else. So I am so happy to be on this call where we have Charles Booker, who will be the next senator from Kentucky, and Jamaal Bowman, who will represent Westchester and the Boogie Down Bronx in Congress come this fall or come next year. I know a lot of people say, well, we voted before, it hasn't really changed much. Things continue to get worse and worse, but here's the thing. When we march and when we organize and when we vote and we use all the tools in our toolbox, we will, and I believe we will, finally dismantle the things that have been chokeholds over our democracy for a long time. We will dismantle white supremacy once and for all. We will dismantle patriarchy, and we will dismantle capitalism because they are hurting our communities and are bleeding our communities. We must fight for things like the Green New Deal. We must fight to ensure that we decrease the prison population and hopefully, and this is just my opinion, abolish prisons as they see fit and actually come a new model of public safety, because you know what communities know what public safety they need, and we need communities of color and those working class communities that are struggling and fighting on the front lines this entire time. I am just so immensely grateful for everybody who's been out on the streets, but also everybody who's been texting, phone banking, making calls to your friends, maybe door knocking if in a safe and manner in this time of the pandemic. I am so grateful to the thousands of volunteers we've seen in New York, in Kentucky, and across this country, because we will win. Yes, there is a lot to face. There is so much of a system, but we are building our own system that is built for us, by us, and it's for our communities leading at the front. We are building that electoral power. We are building that direct action power. We are building cultural power with people who are expressing their ways through art and creativity. And I believe that we will win. We are facing massive voter suppression. And I want to say what the state of Kentucky just pulled, we're trying to pull a bunch of voting booths, ain't right, right? This is not, I'm used to kind of the call and response, obviously, but it is not right to see this. And we will fight that too. And now is the time to organize. I look at Charles Booker and Jamaal Bowman as part of the future that we're building, the future that started when we got lots of members of Congress elected in 2018, the future that started when we primaried in 2015 in the presidential primary, the future that started when municipals across the country got radical mayors like in Jackson, Mississippi, to fight for our people. I believe we will win. It doesn't seem like that a lot of times, but you know what? The silver linings are that for the first time in my entire life, I've been a part of Occupy Wall Street, been a part of the movement for Black Lives, been a part of starting a bunch of amazing organizations like the Dream Defenders. The first time in my life, I am seeing a multi-racial uprising of working class people and also class traitors. Thank you for the class traitors who are in the streets, who are doing everything possible to demand justice. And you know what's going to happen in a couple of days, in 48 hours? We are going to win. We are going to show to people that Black folks who have our politics, who do believe that we can have justice, who do believe that we need to solve the climate crisis, who do believe that we must put people first, are going to take it to Washington and are going to make sure they are fighting for our communities every single step of the way. So I am so happy to be on this call. I'm so appreciative of everyone who's been engaged in the movement for Black Lives. This isn't over. We are going to win on Tuesday. We're going to continue to win. There are district attorney races up and down the ballot that decide who goes to prison and who doesn't, who gets prosecuted and who doesn't, and we will continue to win. I know that the top of the ballot doesn't look really good for all of us this year, but do you know what? If we fight and we show that we have a vision, that takes care of our communities, that puts people first, that centers a feminist politic, that centers finally the people who are most impacted, we are going to continue to win. We're going to continue to build, because you know what I believe in? I believe the organized power of we. I believe in the organized power of all of you who are coming from across the country and all of you across and this global movement that we are in. I'm gonna end with a song, as I always usually do, and I think it's really something that is important to bring culture to our movements, because our movements use song to transcend race, class, language lines. So I'm gonna sing a little bit of a song, and I listen to things like Wu-Tang because I'm from Staten Island, and many things that get me through the way. Yes, Jamaal. And so I leave you with this song. All right, so it's called The People Will Rise. I wrote it a while ago. Some folks have sung it and have built for it. So why are we in this situation that brings us down? Can't you see we are losing patience with oppression now? The people will rise, 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 the people will rise. You and I, we will rise together for common ground. When we fight, people will see our rights and we'll fight for freedom. The people will rise, 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 the people will rise. To help out in New York, you can text. I'm gonna be up there. I'm gonna be out up in Westchester, my own stomping grounds. You can text New York, NY, to 30403. Again, just text New York to 30403 so we could bring it home for Jamaal Bowman. And I'm sending all my love to everybody who's gonna bring it home for Charles Booker in Kentucky. Let's get it. Thanks, y'all.
Woo! Can we get some love in that chat for Nalini, who just threw down all the truth and hyped this crowd up more than anyone could possibly do? I am so grateful to have been able to listen to you. I just have so much appreciation for you. Y'all, there are over 900 people in this chat, in this hall right now. Over 900 of us are here because we know that change needs to be made, and we are ready to put in the work to make that happen. Like Nalini said, the next 2 days are absolutely critical, right? These races, we're the underdogs, right? But this historic moment and the people power behind this has turned everything upside down, and the races are truly neck and neck. So polls are showing that it's tight, and the eyes of the nation are on these races. So if we can pull this off, we're going to shock the entire country, and we're going to send a message to pundits who wrote them off that the Green New Deal is a winning message from the Bronx to Kentucky to all over this country. This is what we need to win, and this is the message that people want to get behind. And it's not going to be easy. I'm going to ground us in that as we continue to feel hype on this call. We have a lot of work to do, right? In the last week, as Jamaal and Charles's opponents have finally woken up, they and their super PACs have been sending out mailers and flooding the airwaves with millions of dollars in racist attack ads to try and slow down our momentum. But we have a goal for these next 2 days to get 2,000 people signed up to phone bank Monday and Tuesday for both of these incredible candidates. And how incredible if we do. So let's all keep in mind just how powerful we can be when we unite to fight for these candidates and to fight for the real change that we know America needs. So I want to say a little bit about this next speaker, someone who has really inspired me from afar all the way here in Colorado. As a public school teacher, Jamaal has been a community leader for decades. And when the COVID pandemic hit the Bronx, he organized deliveries of food and medical supplies to those who were truly in need. And in the wake of George Floyd's murder, he's been in the streets alongside protesters to demand justice. Meanwhile, incumbent Eliot Engel was in his suburban Maryland home and pretending to be in the district. It was working for him until a reporter knocked on his door to see if he was actually going to show up for his people. And they caught him asking if he would speak at a press conference to boost his image at a Black Lives Matter protest. And he was caught telling another politician that if he didn't have a primary, he wouldn't care. So for me, watching Jamaal support his community so fully, in contrast to someone who has turned his back to the community and to the real changes that we need, has been a reminder to me that we can elect representatives who prioritize us and our well-being. This has been a chaotic time of uncertainty and anxiety, but seeing Jamaal in neighborhoods providing care and listening to people has made me feel that much more determined to fight for candidates like him across the entire country. Jamaal is a true example of a selfless and giving person, and I'm just gonna say it, a congressperson. So let's hear it from the man himself. Jamaal.
What's up, Sunrise Movement in the building? Let's go, let's go, let's go. It is so exciting to be here. Thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you for having me. Thank you for believing in me and believing in us from the very beginning. We were fighting for racial and economic justice prior to COVID and prior to George Floyd's murder, and it's needed now more than ever. It's not even about Eliot Engel. Eliot Engel represents everything we knew he was about. He didn't care about this community. That's why he didn't live here. And when he came back, he only came back because he had a primary. That's why primaries matter. While this district was hit the hardest by COVID before any other place in New York State, we had the second case in New Rochelle, right here in this district. It spread rapidly through New Rochelle, through Co-op City, through Yonkers, through Mount Vernon. And guess what? Because New Rochelle was wealthier and whiter, they got a containment zone, they got the National Guard, they got a testing site within 8 days. It took another 23 days to get just a testing site to Co-op City. Co-op City is the largest naturally occurring retirement community in the world, 15,000 units. The people there are resilient, they are strong. But why it's gonna take 23 days after the initial case to get something in Co-op City? In Yonkers, in Mount Vernon, and in NYCHA public housing, it took another 53 days to get a testing site in these areas. So it's not just the disproportionality in terms of health outcomes overall prior to COVID, it's the disproportionality in terms of our response. We responded better and more efficiently to the white wealthy community than we did everywhere else. That's unacceptable. That's never been acceptable, and it's no longer acceptable in this moment when the entire country is rising up, demanding change. And guess what? Sunrise has been a leader in that change since AOC was elected. And now everywhere we go, everyone's talking about a Green New Deal. Every debate I've had, every forum, they ask about a Green New Deal, and it's because of the work of Sunrise. And obviously, we need a Green New Deal now more than ever. This is the biggest crisis since the Great Depression. After the Great Depression, what do? We implemented a New Deal. We created the Workers' Progress Administration, federal jobs guarantee, right? This is the moment to do it again. We need a federal jobs guarantee in alignment with getting a net zero carbon emissions within 10 years. Green New Deal for public housing, growing the care economy. We need more early childhood educators, more teachers, more nurses. We need manufacturing jobs in alignment with our mission of the Green New Deal, and we need it right now. And if we are able to win this election, we send a message to the country and to the world that we're in a new day. The seismic paradigm shift will occur. We'll have young people, particularly people of color, who have lost faith in the system, lean in and begin to believe again. So I'm asking you, don't just sign up for a phone bank for me, sign up for another one for my brother Charles Booker. Let's make sure we get him into the Senate, into the general election, so he could beat Mitch McConnell. I can't wait. The brother Booker's going to win, right? I'm going to win. And then I'm going to fly to Kentucky and talk to every black person on the ground in Kentucky to make sure they come out to vote for my brother, Mr. Booker. And I'm going to talk to every teacher and school principal and superintendent. If we could imagine we knock out Elliot Engel and Mitch McConnell in one election cycle. That's what we trying to get popping. And Sunrise is going to make that happen. We need you to sign up for phone banking, get on these calls. In the last poll, we were 10 points up, but we grinding like we 10 points down. We grinding. We ain't taking nothing for granted at all. So thank you all for having me. Appreciate you. I love you all for what you do. Help us bring this victory home. Let's get my brother Booker into the Senate, into the next step. He'll go against Mitch McConnell, which is like, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to curse on this platform. Saying we got work to do. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And let's go. Let's do it.
Woo! Let's get some love in the chat for Jamaal. I can't even explain how pumped I am for you to win. This is incredible. This is what we need. This is the change that we need. These are the leaders that we need. We know it, and we feel ready to throw down for them to get involved and for them to get elected. Right now, I want to say we have 950 people on this call right now. We have 1,275 people signed up to Phone Bank Monday and Tuesday, and we need 2,000 people to sign up to Phone Bank. So let's get that going. I want to say phone banking is not only a whole lot of fun, it's also a clear way that each of us can make a real difference for these races. If you've never done it before, for me, it's kind of like making dozens of really powerful friendships in a night that, sure, maybe you never talk to again, but it still matters. And everyone is super pumped to talk about these races because people all across our states understand what's at stake if we don't elect these incredible badass champions. And so I want everyone to drop a star in the chat if you are currently registering to Phone Bank for Jamaal and for Charles Monday and Tuesday. You're going to help us get to 2,000 callers because you know that we need to do that to win. I want those stars to flood the chat. They're already doing so, and let's keep it going. But for now, I want to make a quick transition to someone who is incredibly important to me personally. This is someone who is an incredible leader, a powerful speaker. She's been taking a break from being the Sunrise Deputy Field Director to be the Deputy Campaign Manager for Charles Booker in the final stretch. And she's going to share the inside scoop on what this race is looking like in Kentucky. So I have the privilege, and I'm so excited to introduce the incredible Shante.
What is up, Sunrise? First of all, I just want to say everyone looks beautiful on this call tonight. I want to thank everyone that came out, and I'm just going to get to it. A couple of months ago, everyone on this call, including myself, learned about a young gentleman from the South that was talking about a Green New Deal and wanting a difference for Kentuckians. And at the time, everyone was like, well, who's this guy in the South? Well, let me tell you about him. His name is Charles Booker. Charles, in the past week or so, in the past 3 weeks, has created a surge that we have never seen in this state. But I want to do a little contrast to what people believe and what we see now. Back then, what we saw was millions and thousands of people watching and seeing if this person could really come back against an opponent who is a pro-Trump Democrat, who has millions raised and has been dubbed the Democratic ticket. But Kentucky said, we want another option. And so people in Sunrise Hubs in Bowling Green and Louisville and different areas across the South started picking up the phone and calling their neighbors and telling them, hey, have you heard about this candidate that wants to make sure that you don't have to choose between insulin and making sure that you can pay your check? Or, hey, have you heard about the young brother that wants to make sure that when he's making legislation, they will make sure that it is inclusive to all identities and all sexual orientations and gender? And everyone got excited. And so now that we see a moment that has shifted to a movement, we're asking what's next? And this is where you come in. We're in the last stretch of this race, y'all. We have surged so much so that Amy McGrath is starting to mirror our language in ways that have been comical at best, but has shown that I want to really give everyone on this call positive agitation right now and say that we were never underdogs in this race. We were never underdogs about Bowman. We were never underdogs about Booker. We are the force that people know that they have to reckon with, and that is something that we need to realize that we've already won about. So I want everyone on this call to realize that you are a winner in this moment, regardless of what the media has said about us. We have been here and we've been showing up since day one. What inspired me the most about this race is something that I feel like a lot of us feel in this moment. Is that across the nation, we're screaming and we're standing with our chest out and saying that our lives matter. Charles Booker went on the floor Senate before the House and said, "My life mattered," and his mic was muted, but it did not matter because he was empowered and he screamed from the top of his lungs that my life matters. And I think that everyone on this call understands that their life matters, and that is why everyone is going to the polls on Saturday. And I would like to transition without further ado of a very popular ad that has everyone going and everyone making sure that they're getting out the vote. Take it away.
Sorry, one sec.
He never saw us coming. He never saw those medical bills pile up. He never asked what we needed. He spent trillions of dollars bailing out his friends while we lined up for unemployment. He let the government abandon America, abandon Kentucky. I explained to you how these types of laws would kill people. My life matters too, Speaker.
You are out of order. Your 3 minutes are up.
My life matters too. Black lives matter. He never saw us coming. I grew up in 40203, the poorest zip code in the state. I've been invisible to people like Mitch McConnell my entire life. From the hood to the holler, we've all felt invisible and alone. But finally, the power of the people is beginning to show. We've seen who keeps society running. It's the black janitors, the brown cashiers, the white folks stocking the shelves. The essential people are rising up. I've seen young people become preachers, cooks, medics. I've seen folks from the mountains. Everybody wrote off, fighting to say, my life matters. Nah, I don't feel alone anymore. I've seen America's future on the streets of Kentucky, a future where survival isn't so complex. My daughters can trust the water from their faucet. Brianna's door won't get kicked in. And the air isn't so toxic it could choke me out. We don't need to be so suspicious of our neighbors. We can build a world where you don't look over your shoulder when you walk down the street. You look forward. If people need health care, the government can provide health care for all. We know the government can help people get meaningful work rebuilding America.
From the hood to the highway, the hood to the highway.
Another political race that is heating up.
Yesterday, the hashtag Booker beats Mitch was trending.
I have a feeling he can shock the world.
They got predictions, but you've got to vote.
We don't need people in Washington telling us who should be our candidates in Kentucky.
We need to elect our brothers, our sisters, our fellow good troublemakers. Only a movement can beat Mitch. Suddenly, he's getting nervous. Could there really be a movement in Kentucky which brings together blacks, whites, and Latinos, teachers, miners, and farmers, Republicans, Democrats, and independents standing up for working people, fighting for change?
People united.
Look me in the eyes, Mitch.
Have you seen any signs that suggests to you that Mitch McConnell is afraid of running against you?
Can you see us now?
Shante, you're muted. Let me. Oh, there you go.
Test. Okay, good. Before I introduce someone who was very important to me in such a short amount of time, has shown me that he's not only a genuine brother, but he's someone that cares about protecting the vanguard of the South and what that means for everyone, including free healthcare, a Green New Deal, making sure that we have adequate healthcare for everyone. I want everyone to raise their fists in the air and say that they're doing this for Kentucky, for New York, for the South, for a better America, for nurses, for our teachers, and for a Green New Deal. And without further ado, my next senator, Mr. Charles Booker.
Thank you, Shante. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I had to get choked up to seeing that. I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of y'all. I'm so honored. Yes, I am Charles Booker. Yes, I'm the youngest Black state legislator in Kentucky since the very first one. Yes, I'm running for United States Senate. And yes, we are building the movement to beat Mitch McConnell and transform our future. I am so inspired. I am so full. My hope is being restored every day. I'm on the bus right now, so I'm on the Booker bus. And we just left Corbin in Kentucky. And over 100 years ago, there were race riots in Corbin where people that looked like me were driven out of the city. And even in the midst of our history, understanding we just celebrated Juneteenth, and my ancestors were enslaved in Kentucky. My ancestors were lynched in Kentucky. My grandparent, my granddad, my great uncle fought for desegregation in Kentucky, understanding the work we have yet to do to bend the arc, to continue to demand justice, humanity for all people. We know that work is very present, but we also know we're ready for it. And I'm taking this bus all across Kentucky to let it be known that we're ready to lead. We're ready to uproot structural racism. We're ready to end generational poverty. We're ready to win a Green New Deal. In fact, in Kentucky, we're going to lead on a Kentucky New Deal because we're ready to lead on that thing. And listen, this is for everybody. Yes, Kentucky can have a Black person represent us in the United States Senate. Yes, someone can come from the hood with no money in their pocket and still stand and be a leader for all people. Yes, see my shirt, from the hood to the holler. We're standing together, unified in a mission to uplift all people, to transform our future for all people. Because no matter who you are, what you look like, what pronoun you use, whether you're walking or in a wheelchair, who you love, whether your skin looks like mine or not, you matter, you are critically important, and you deserve a government that is accountable to you. This is not me, it's us. We are the movement. We are the change. And with a couple days left before this primary election, I wanted to reach out to send y'all some love because y'all been crushing it. I got to give thanks to all the folks that came together to help make this possible. Working Families Party, Collective PAC, PCCC, Democracy for America, and of course, Senator Sanders, the Sunrise Movement, everybody that's holding it down, making noise for real change. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I know that you're calling. I know that you're reaching out. And I want you to know it's making a difference. Over $40,000 right directly into the Commonwealth. Folks in my congregation, folks that are retired coal miners, teachers that are demanding a brighter future for public education, folks that have given up and turned away from the idea of fighting for more because nobody ever cared. And by you reaching out, you're giving them hope. You're giving me hope. And I got to tell you, we're going to win this race. We're going to win this race together. And so as we have these last couple of days, I'm asking you to help me out. My brother Jamaal Bowman is crushing it, standing up for regular people, fighting against structural inequity. We need him in Washington so I can have a buddy up there to cause good trouble when I get up there, because we kicking the door in and we telling Senator Sanders, you got some firepower on alongside you. So with these last couple of days, I need you to help me out. If you're willing to, if they can drop the link for me, put the link in the comments so we can get rid of Mitch. But then please do one for my brother Jamaal Bowman as well, so we can make sure that he wins his race. And if you do that, once you click on that link, get signed up for a shift. Make sure that you put a star as well in the chat. Let us know that you did it. Let us know that you're ready. And again, I just want to thank all the folks that have come together to make this possible. Working Families Party, Collective PAC, PCCC, Democracy for America, Sunrise Movement, and of course, Bernie Sanders. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Let's win this thing. Let's shock the world. Let's do it.
Woohoo! Everyone drop some love in there for Charles Booker, the one, the only, one of the most inspiring people that I have ever been able to know. It means so much to have you on this call, and we're so appreciative. We're just so excited. You can see there are stars exploding in that chat. Let's make some more stars explode. So now we have 1,350 signups for phone banking. We need to get up to that 2,000. We got to break that 2,000, right? We know that the stakes are high. We know that it's going to take each and every one of us to throw down for these candidates. So let's get to 2,000. Let's celebrate each other, and let's go past 2,000. Let's phone bank as much as possible and get every single person we know involved. I want to once again shout out to our partners as well. Like Charles says, we are all fellow troublemakers, fellow good troublemakers. Want to make sure that they get some love too. I'd love people to just throw in some love in the chat too for Working Families Party, the Collective PAC, for PCCC, Democracy for America. This has taken all of us, and it takes each and every person on this call, all of your friends and family members to be involved for us to really get these elections to be going our way. So really just spread the love around. It's going to be a big 2 days, so we got to really hold each other and push forward. Cool. So I want to invite Zara, who is a Sunriser from New Jersey, who's going to speak a little bit with everyone about her experience calling voters in Kentucky and New York and what that's been like, to spread some knowledge to the rest of us. So take it away, Zara.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zara. I'm 14 years old, and today I will be talking about my experience phone banking for Jamaal and Charles. So my first time phone banking, I was like really nervous because I didn't know much about like what phone banking entailed. But fortunately, phone banking is such a fun, interactive, and exciting way to get amazing candidates into office. So if you have never phone banked before, you will get all the training you need to learn about the candidates, to use the dialer, and to call people. So if you have used the dialer before and you don't know much about the candidate, we provide documents and explain what these amazing candidates do and why it's so important to get them into office. So as soon as you get into it, you get all the help you need and all the practice you need. You also feel like you're part of a community because we're all in this together, all on one big Zoom chat. And every time we get a voter, we put a star in the chat to hype each other up. And it's really amazing to see like so many stars and just hyping each other up all together. So we're never alone, and you can always ask questions. And the main goal is to relate with voters and tell stories and get the right candidates elected, all while having great and amazing conversations. And another thing, there's a group of facilitators that help you out, either train, work the Zoom, host, and like help you guys out with anything you need. And you can ask any questions during the chat. So why I phone bank? I phone bank because I know that we need to elect amazing candidates such as Jamaal and Charles to get equality and to improve all communities. We need to speak up and raise our voices. And I phone bank because even though I can't vote, I know that I can create an impact and speak up and get the right candidates. I also phone bank so that we can fight for the climate crisis, serve justice and equality, spread love, peace, and make sure we get the right people with people-powered and grassroots campaigns in office. We need to phone bank, not just for now, but to improve our future. So I'm going to tell you a very fun story I like telling a lot of people. One time I was phone banking, and I called this older lady who knew nothing, and I mean nothing, about Jamaal Bowman. And I remember explaining to her about his campaign and what he wants to do for the community, and that he previously was a middle school principal, and that really helped convince her. And we had an amazing 10-minute conversation. It was just like speaking together. We weren't even like, we were just having a regular conversation, and she was so excited to vote. And I got to tell her everything about early voting and the absentee ballot. I just had so much fun talking with her. Again, I had a real conversation. And we also got to talk about the issues that matter to her. Each voter has different issues that matters to them, and you have to relate to them. And I realized that one-on-one conversation with voters really impacts and makes a huge difference. So will you join me in recruiting your friends and family to phone bank with us, because we really need it. And I really hope to see you on one of the phone banks.
Awesome. Can we get some love for Zara in the chat, please? Zara, you're incredible. You are exactly what young, powerful leaders look like, and I am just so grateful to know you. I can't wait for you to run for office one day. But like Zara said, phone banking, you have a ton of support. People are going to prep you. You don't have to know everything, right? We are all people who care about these issues, who want to create change and want to get other people to see that. We don't have to be experts. We don't have to know all the facts. And we hold each other and support each other as we make those calls so that we can all feel really inspired and empowered as we do them. I want to give everyone a new report with where we're at on getting out the vote for Jamaal and Charles. So at the start of the call, we were at 1,231 signups for calling just on Monday and Tuesday. Already, we're at 1,389 signups. That's 158 signups already. So big shout out to all of you who are really rooting down, understanding the importance of getting involved for these last 2 days as we push to get these candidates elected. Let's get to that goal. Let's get to 2,000. I can't wait to see more stars in that chat. Just really, really impressed by everyone. One of the things I want to say is that it's okay to feel nervous when we're phone banking, right? These races are won and lost by people who are nervous. We aren't sure if they're ready to phone bank for an hour, people who are busy and feel uncertain about how we're going to come across. You are the kind of people that we need phone banking. We need our movement to show that we hold people from all walks of life who are all dedicated to this movement and to creating real change. And so with that, I want to say I see you and I am inspired by you, and that's why I need you to help us to phone bank these next 2 days. And I have 2 asks to make around that for everyone on the call right now. So the first ask is that if you haven't already signed up for a shift for Charles and a shift for Jamaal, do that right now, and I can't wait to see the star in the chat. And number 2 is to copy and paste that link and to text it right now to a friend or family member or someone in your hub and ask them to sign up with you. Because this is a movement about all of us getting involved and fighting for real change. And who better to bring people into that than our own friends and family? So text them now and get them as pumped as all 980 of us are to get involved and to throw down for these candidates. And the moderators, can I get that text in the chat for people to be able to copy? You all can see it on your screen. We gave you some simple script that you can use to reach out to your friends and family. Josh, I see you with that star, good work. But also drop an exclamation point in after you've texted some friends and family members to tell them just how important it is for all of us to get involved in this race. Wow. Thank you all so much. This is the boost that we need. Like Charles was saying, it takes all of us, and we have to really, really make sure that we're reaching out to everyone we know. It's just 2 days left, 2 days to make all the difference in the world, and each and every one of you has the power to do that. Awesome. Well, I'm really impressed. Keep signing up, keep texting your friends, keep getting people involved. It's just 2 more days to do that, and I think we're going to win. So we want everyone we know to be involved in changing history and shocking the world. So now we've got a really special message from Bernie Sanders that we want to share with all of you. He wasn't able to make it, but he ended up recording a video because he wanted to make sure everyone here could hear from him. So we're going to start that in a minute. But as we do, please head to this link. You see the script in there again, and sign up to phone bank for these next 2 days. While Bernie's talking about the importance of these races, text those friends and family members who stand to benefit from progressive, bold changes like Medicare for All and a Green New Deal. We have people in our lives who truly, truly need these changes just like the rest of us. And now is the time, as we hear from our very own Bernie to really reach out to those people and to help them feel inspired to get involved as well. So with that, we're going to play a special note from our friend.
But the Sunrise Movement understands, and you understand, and I understand, that while we got to stand up, we got to rally, we got to demonstrate, we got to do all of the grassroots activism that we need, we also have got to elect strong progressive candidates all across this country. Candidates who are going to fight for the Green New Deal. Candidates who are going to fight for Medicare for all and understand that health care is a human right, not a privilege. Candidates who are going to run to raise the minimum wage to a living wage of at least $15 an hour, to strengthen the trade union movement, to fight for comprehensive immigration reform, to make public colleges and universities tuition-free, to cancel all student debt, to make sure that there is very, very deep police department reforms all over this country, and develop new concepts toward policing that deal with the whole criminal justice system, which is racist and broken, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, there are enormous issues that face the American people. And it's not good enough to have status quo politicians in Washington, D.C. We need to have people have the guts to take on the political establishment, to take on the economic establishment, to make it clear, really, what people are saying in the streets in terms of police brutality, police murder, and other issues. Enough is enough. We got to create a government, an economy, an energy system that works for all of us, not just for billionaires and the powers that be. And we are working really hard to elect great candidates all across this country, at the Senate level, at the House level, at the district attorney level, because district attorneys have a very, very strong impact on police issues and on criminal justice issues. But today, while we have so many great candidates out there, we're focusing along with the Sunrise Movement on two candidates. One is Charles Booker, who is running for the U.S. Senate in the state of Kentucky. And he is running a great race as a strong progressive. He stands a very good chance of winning the Democratic primary. And importantly, and the reason the whole country is watching that race, is that if he wins the Democratic primary, he stands a good chance to defeat Mitch McConnell, who is the Republican U.S. Senate leader. He is the guy who prides himself on saying, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to follow the lead of Donald Trump. So if you want to stand up to Trump, you got to stand up to Mitch McConnell and the Republican leadership in the Senate. And that's what Charles Booker is doing. So I would urge everybody in Kentucky, please, please, make sure you vote. You can vote in person, or you can send in your mail-in ballot if it is not later than this Tuesday. It has to be postmarked this Tuesday. So let's do everything that we can as volunteers, as voters, to elect Charles Booker as the next United States Senator from the state of Kentucky. And then in New York State, we're supporting a whole number of great candidates, many of whom have a good chance to win in New York. But the one candidate we're focusing on in this moment in New York is Jamaal Bowman. And Jamaal is running against a long-term, powerful incumbent supported by the entire political establishment. But Jamaal has a great chance to win because he has been rallying grassroots support and volunteers. And his victory will not only give us a new, fresh voice in the United States House of Representatives, it will also show the entire establishment that, yes, we can take on and defeat long-term incumbents if they are not responding to the needs of working families, to the needs of people of color. And that's what that campaign is about. So once again, let's do everything that we can to elect Charles Booker to be the next United States Senator from Kentucky. Let's elect Jamaal Bowman to be the next Congressman from New York. And if we work together, if we stand up, if we volunteer, if we vote, we can do just that. So thank you all very much. Let's go out and do it.
Woo! Thank you to Bernie. One of the things I just want to say, Bernie did this video for us early on because, as we all know, he's working real hard to get out the vote and to work really hard in Washington, but really wanted to make sure that he celebrated our other partners who co-sponsored this important call. This is a collective movement. This is the overall movement on how we create real change, and it is thanks to the Working Families Party, the Collective PAC, to PCCC, to Democracy for America. It is these orgs that work alongside, that fight for real change, and we need to show them love and really appreciate the work that they're doing. And Bernie wanted to say that as well, and I'm just really inspired and grateful to be a part of the work that we're all doing collectively. One of the things that I want to say is that I'm sure for many people on the call, hearing from Bernie around these races is a really powerful example of how our movement not only moves forward, but strengthens with each candidate that we fight for. And I want to share one final update around where we are at with our 2,000 shift goal for the final 2 days. So right now, we are at 1,760 phone bank signups. That's 539 signups. Wow, incredible. It's really powerful. We're so close, and all we have to do is just get a little bit further. So all those friends and family who you just texted, who are gonna be on the cusp, who aren't sure if they're getting involved, let them know that they have the power to win. They have the power to use their voice to help these elections go our way, and we can blast that 2,000 goal. We really can. I believe we can tonight too, so that when we all wake up in the morning and we show up for those phone banking shifts, we can see the change that we're about to make together. We have some pretty intense collective power, and let's seize it together. I want to share something about why this fight has meant so much to me. I'm in this fight all the way because I want to elect progressive champions who are going to create real changes. But I want to share why bold changes like Bernie and Jamaal and Charles are fighting for, why they matter so much to me. So after the 2008 recession, my house foreclosed. I was young enough at the time to not fully understand the gravity of the crisis, but I could see it on my parents' faces. And it was in the years living in a rental home miles away from the kids that I grew up with that I found strength in struggle. And we held ourselves together like many families did, despite the lack of aid from the government. And I quickly learned just how broken our system really is. And I think a lot of us are starting to feel the same thing right now during COVID. I learned it from my $180 a month health insurance premium that still I had to pay out of pocket in addition until I reached an unbelievably high deductible I was never going to reach. I learned that no housing was truly affordable, and so my dad put me up as a senior in college as I commuted 30 miles to go to school every day. So in a broken system, my story and other stories, they can push for real change. And so I got involved and started fighting for people who could create bold policy that would help all of us and would make sure that people in my position and in other positions don't have to struggle the way that I did. It's incredible how much things have changed in just 4 years. Now this movement is so much bigger, and we have amazing leaders like Jamaal and Charles that we are going to elect. And we have amazing women of color that I look up to, like Rashida and AOC and Ayanna and Ilhan in Congress. And all of them, like our voices, are fighting for a society that uplifts people and prioritizes what we need. But we have to keep going, team. We have to keep pushing. This is the moment, now more than ever, that we push, that we get everyone we know involved, because we know what it looks like when we elect progressives into Congress who can fight for real change, who will speak for us, and who will make us feel like our voices matter and change is really coming. Because I don't know about you, but there have been times where I felt low. And it's these candidates and it's those people in office already that made me feel hopeful and made me feel fired up to keep fighting until we get the actual change that's going to change our country and make all of us be accounted for. And so this is the moment to dig deep. This is the moment to reach out to everybody we know and say, we can make a difference now. In 2 days, we can make a difference. So sign up and share with your friends that if we can get these people elected, real change is coming and we don't have to struggle anymore. We can stay in strength and we can be in a country that's actually going to work for all of us. So before we close, I want to again thank all of our incredible speakers and the partners who helped promote this incredible event. I want to thank Working Families Party, the Collective PAC, Progressive Change Campaign Committee, Democracy for America, my own Sunrise, Jamaal Bowman and Charles Booker. I am so grateful to all of you who took the time to be on this call. I want you to know that we are going to smash that goal, that 2,000 of us plus are going to be on those phone banks tomorrow and Tuesday, and we are going to win these races, and we're going to stand up to incumbents, and we're going to stand up to Washington and say, we are here, we are loud, and we are ready for actual changes that are going to benefit our communities. And say it with me, that I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. So sign up now. I hope that you will take the stories you heard from tonight's event. I hope you will dig deep and feel the power within you to reach out to everyone you know and to do this final push that we need in order to win these next 2 days. So thank you all so much for being here, and I hope you have a great night.